A lot of fans who once celebrated the idea of Triple H running WWE now look back at Vince McMahon's era and see things they miss, even if they didn't realize it at the time. The core reason is that Vince McMahon, for all of his flaws, made WWE feel larger than life. He had a style that leaned on spectacle, outrageous characters, shocking angles, and mainstream relevance. Under him, the company often felt unpredictable, chaotic, and sometimes reckless, but that chaos is exactly what kept many fans glued to the product. Triple H, by contrast, has built his version of WWE around consistency, match quality, and long-term planning, but the execution has left many people cold because what was once meant to feel like a revolution has turned into something bland. Fans now find themselves comparing the two approaches and realizing that while Vince drove people crazy with questionable decisions, his product rarely felt boring. With Triple H, boredom has become a constant complaint. One of the clearest reasons fans want Vince back is the pacing of the shows. Vince understood television as a form of entertainment. He structured Raw and SmackDown to always have a hook, whether it was a shocking return, a surprise attack, or some ridiculous segment that got people talking. Triple H's pacing is slower, often built around longer wrestling matches, backstage segments with heavy dialogue, and a more sports-based presentation. Hardcore fans may like the idea of longer matches, but casual viewers, who make up the majority, tend to lose interest if the product doesn't feel alive. Vince never let more than a few weeks go by without some over-the-top stunt or a story development that would make headlines. Triple H often lets stories drag without payoffs, and fans feel like they're watching shows that are technically solid but creatively flat. Another reason fans want Vince back is his ability to create stars who transcended wrestling. Vince's entire philosophy was about finding larger-than-life characters who could become pop culture figures. Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Steve Austin, John Cena, even Roman Reigns in his current form. All of them were molded through Vince's vision of what a star should look like. He built people who could stand in front of mainstream audiences and seem bigger than sports entertainment itself. Triple H has focused more on wrestling skill and presenting people as athletes rather than icons. The result is that the roster under him feels stacked with talent but lacking in genuine superstars. Guys like Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn are excellent wrestlers, but they haven't been elevated into the kind of megastars Vince would have pushed. Fans notice this difference and believe Vince's approach, while sometimes cartoonish, produced names that stuck in cultural memory, whereas Triple H's WWE feels like it produces strong wrestlers but few unforgettable figures. Vince also had a ruthless way of adjusting to crowd reactions. While he ignored fan demand at times, he was always aware of where the money was. He knew when to turn someone heel, when to capitalize on momentum, and when to throw something unexpected at the audience. His decisions could frustrate fans in the short term, but in the long run they created moments that defined eras. Triple H, however, is more stubborn in his booking. He pushes his chosen stars in a steady direction regardless of crowd reaction. The audience feels disconnected because they sense that the current product is being micromanaged in a way that limits organic growth. When fans cheer for someone loudly, like LA Knight, the response is often lukewarm or delayed under Triple H's leadership, which kills the energy. Vince might not have always given fans exactly what they wanted, but he knew how to capitalize quickly on momentum to make the company money and keep fans engaged. Another factor is the loss of spectacle. Vince treated WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and even regular weekly shows as massive productions. He obsessed over presentation, pyro, lighting, big entrances, celebrity involvement, and theatrical storytelling. Fans felt like every major event was an experience. Under Triple H, the emphasis is more grounded. Entrances are still impressive, but the shows feel more like long wrestling cards than cultural spectacles. There's less crossover with celebrities, less outrageous drama, and more of a sports presentation. Hardcore wrestling fans may enjoy it, but casual viewers who tuned in for the over-the-top nature of WWE find it less exciting. Vince knew that WWE wasn't just wrestling, it was a show designed to compete with movies, TV dramas, and live events. Triple H's product, while technically clean, often comes across as just another wrestling promotion rather than the global entertainment juggernaut WWE once was. Fans also miss Vince's willingness to embrace chaos. Under him, anything felt possible. You could see shocking heel turns, unexpected alliances, or bizarre segments that got people talking even if they were controversial. Triple H plays things much safer. His shows rarely have those jaw-dropping moments that dominate social media or create buzz outside the wrestling bubble. When you think of Vince's WWE, you remember shocking pipe bombs, surprise debuts, and insane stunts. When you think of Triple H's WWE, you think of steady storytelling that often drags too long long without a major payoff. That difference in philosophy makes fans feel like the product has lost its edge, and even if Vince's chaos sometimes backfired, it kept the product alive in conversation. Another area where fans criticize Triple H is his over-reliance on his NXT vision. While NXT was beloved for a time, its success was in a niche environment. It was built for a smaller, more hardcore audience. Triple H has tried to scale that vision to the main roster, but it doesn't connect the same way. On a massive stage like Raw or SmackDown, his style comes across as too slow, too focused on work rate, and too light on spectacle. The storytelling in NXT thrived because the audience was small and highly invested, but when applied to a mainstream global company, it doesn't hold the same power. Fans feel like Triple H is running WWE as if it's still NXT, and it doesn't match the scale or energy of what they expect from the biggest wrestling company in the world. Injuries and inconsistent pushes also factor in. Several times WWE has seemed on the verge of creating new stars, only for injuries or inconsistent booking to derail them. Think about Finn Balor winning the Universal Championship only to vacate it the next day due to injury, or Kofi Kingston's historic WrestleMania victory, which was followed by months of mediocre booking and an eventual squash loss to Brock Lesnar. Momentum in wrestling is everything, and WWE has repeatedly squandered momentum through poor follow-up or catastrophic mismanagement. Every time fans get behind someone, they are let down by how WWE handles their trajectory. Another obstacle is WWE's obsession with scripting gimmicks instead of letting performers build them naturally. In the past, gimmicks worked because they reflected elements of the performer's real personality. Austin was essentially Steve Austin turned up to 100. The Rock was Dwayne Johnson given the freedom to be cocky and charismatic. Today, wrestlers are often saddled with one-dimensional gimmicks that don't connect with the audience. Whether it's characters that feel cartoonish or personas that lack depth, WWE has made it difficult for wrestlers to find something authentic. Without authenticity, fans don't believe in the character, and without belief, the star can't grow. Another underlying reason is how WWE conditions its audience. For years, the company has trained fans to accept that the true highlights of shows come from returning legends, celebrity appearances, or spectacle matches rather than the weekly grind of building up the roster. When fans expect part-timers to take over the biggest spots, it diminishes the value of full-time wrestlers. This cycle has created a generation of fans who are excited for nostalgia more than the present, and WWE has done little to break that habit. The transition from pay-per-view models to the subscription-based model also plays a role. In the past, the company relied on big stars to sell individual events. Wrestlers like Austin, Rock, or Cena could drive millions of buys for one show because their name alone was enough to convince fans to pay. With the advent of the WWE Network and later Peacock, the emphasis shifted to selling subscriptions rather than individual stars. This meant WWE no longer needed one person to carry the company financially. Instead, the goal became producing a steady flow of content to justify the subscription model. This shift lessened the importance of creating megastars because the financial incentive changed. Another issue is the way WWE handles fan reactions. In earlier eras, when a wrestler got organically over with the audience, the company would lean into it. Daniel Bryan's Yes movement was a rare example of this in modern times, but even that was resisted heavily until fan backlash forced WWE's hand. Most of the time, when someone gets organically over, WWE either cools them off, changes their character, or refuses to capitalize because it doesn't fit their long-term plans. This disconnect between what the audience wants and what the company delivers creates frustration and makes it harder for stars to grow naturally. Additionally, the sheer volume of WWE programming dilutes the value of stars. With hours of Raw, SmackDown, and premium live events every week, no performer feels like a special attraction anymore. Overexposure makes it difficult for fans to view wrestlers as must-see acts. In contrast, when stars like Hogan, Austin, or The Rock were at their peak, fans didn't see them wrestle every single week. Their appearances felt special, which added to their aura. Today, wrestlers are booked constantly, and their matches are often meaningless filler, which reduces their overall star power. WWE's production style also contributes to the problem. The company has perfected a slick, polished presentation that leaves little room for unpredictability or raw emotion. In earlier eras, anything could happen, and fans tuned in with genuine excitement. That unpredictability helped create stars because audiences felt like they were witnessing something special in real time. Today, everything feels overproduced and sanitized. While the production quality is high, it strips away the chaos and energy that once allowed stars to break out in memorable ways. The disconnect between management and the modern audience is also glaring. WWE creative is largely run by people who are disconnected from what resonates with younger fans or the wider pop culture landscape. This creates characters and storylines that feel outdated or out of touch. Wrestlers are often presented in ways that don't align with how audiences consume entertainment today. When WWE misses the cultural pulse, their talent struggles to break out into mainstream relevance. Finally, WWE's corporate mindset treats wrestling more as a content product than a sport or entertainment form driven by stars. In their pursuit of maximizing revenue through sponsorships, licensing, and global events, the importance of building larger-than-life performers has taken a back seat. While the business side thrives, the cultural side suffers. The result is a company that is financially successful but creatively stagnant, unable to consistently create performers who resonate at the level of past legends.